What's up, guys? I'm back. For now, having a baby was a little more work than I anticipated, but you know, you never know until you get there. But heading back at the chopper project, so today's goal is to get that into that. This is the new garage setup. Enough room to kind of get the bikes in here. I do have another project I picked up, you know, throughout the last couple of years here, but we'll go over that some other time. I want to stay focused on getting back into this Amen chopper and getting things rolling. So let's get to it. So the first step for today is getting this thing set up in position to get that frame back over it. I'm kind of going to do the reverse of how I got it out of the old Honda, which is all in pieces over there. I'm going to try to get it up onto its side right here and then take the frame and slide it over the top. So this frame is a little different because it doesn't have the upper mount. There's originally 4 mounts on a CB750, so it has 2 here and then the top mount. And as you can see, there's a plate on this side but not on this side because I think it was designed to have a plate that hooks on here, and then so you can basically have access to get the engine out. So probably have to make something to go over that to fit it. But my goal today is to get these 2 bottom ones just to get it sitting in this frame so we can just further go with mock-up and getting things kind of set up and rolling. So I'm going to set the camera up, probably do a little bit of time lapse, a little bit of talking, but let's horse this big old girl onto the floor and get going. I ended up picking up a GoPro to film with. Hopefully the quality's pretty good and I can get a little bit better shots of it. So right now, I think you guys pretty well aimed. I apologize if I don't. It's been a little while since I messed with the cameras and stuff. So I tried to clean some of this up because it was pretty caked up and gross. So I put some gloves on and try to horse this down here. Hopefully I don't kill myself. This thing weighs a metric. Ooh. Alright. We're gonna have to have it sitting on this side over here because the frame will come over from this way. So I'm just gonna. Woo! That's a big girl. I think I'm gonna get a piece of wood to try to block this up so I can have it sitting more upright, like this. But we'll just kind of prop it that way for a minute. Ooh. I got her kind of blocked up some wood so it sits fairly level. Doesn't have to be perfect. Take my engine car / hand truck out of the way. And let's see if we can set this over. I know it won't be that simple. We might have to pop the oil pan off again, which I may do just anyways because it might just be easier. About trying to fight around it. Pretty sure those are 10 mils. Yep. These are all just loosely on here from when I took it off before. Side. Dirty. I'm going to try to do this carefully so I don't whack the screen or anything. There's a lot of junk in there. Distracted, getting distracted. Stay focused. Alright. In theory, should just slide over like that. In theory, Well, my theory may be bunk. Because this is not fitting in here like I thought it would. Hopefully there's an adjustment issue. I'll be right back as I fiddle around with this. Well, nothing's ever as simple as it seems in your head, obviously. So the issue I'm having right now is this plate right here is hitting the housing, because I assume this probably wasn't anticipated with the 750A, which has the big torque converter in it. So it's not allowing it to roll down to have these two mounts line up and then this mount line up. It hits right here and right here. So I think I might have to clearance this a little bit to allow it to rotate around. I mean, this is pretty thick steel here. So, and I'm going to be building a mount on the other side, which I don't think the structural integrity will be an issue as far as the engine mounting. So it's kind of my only option right now, is just to try to take some of this radius in to be able to get around this big old torque converter. So that's about all I could think to do, and at this point, it's been a while. I'm just wanting to get forward, so we're going to go for it. I'm not a fabricator by any means, but I guess there's no other way to figure it out than just to do it. Alright, so I kind of tried to measure out a little bit with a Sharpie. Again, I'm not a fabricator, so there's no other way to learn than just to do it, so I'm going to figure it out. I'm just going to try to clearance a little bit at a time. I'm thinking about just taking a grinding wheel and grinding back instead of cutting into this. Taking a grinding wheel and starting to, you know, push it back so I get kind of close to this line and then test fit it. Because I'd rather take too little than too much, so we'll just have to kind of step her in as we get going here. So not exactly what I was anticipating for this. I thought, you know, in my head it's just going to slide on there and work, but sorry about the camera there, went sideways. But obviously it's not the case, and that's part of, I guess, when you're building something custom like this. So here we go. I'm going to go a little bit outside my comfort zone, and you guys get to watch right along with me as I hopefully don't fuck everything up. So let's go. Alright, well, I gotta kind of set up here. I put a welding blanket down, so wooden table. Got my kind of line marked out here. I got you guys on my head. It's one of the new gadgets I picked up for the GoPro, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. My idea is to use a grinding wheel, but I just kind of tested it and it's pretty slow. So I might try a little bit more. If not, I might take a cutting wheel and just cut some slits in here and then cut the chunks out. Try to move some of the material back faster. Like I said, this is just a guesstimate line, and it's a little inside of, you know, where it needs to be, because I'm just going to take as little as I can to make it fit, and then we'll go from there. So let's see how it goes. I have eye protection on, and I'm going to put hearing protection on because it's loud. I also have a die grinder I got, another new toy, so we'll kind of see what we can get done here. It's going to be pretty loud, so I'll try to adjust the volume when I do the editing. You know what, now that I'm doing that, I think I'm just going to switch to the cutting wheel, because I think it'll be a lot faster and more practical. So let me get that switched around, then I'll bring you guys back. Alright, now I'm going to do this, I think, with a cutting wheel. Just my idea is just kind of like cut, you know, notches in there and then go to peel them out, just take the chunks back a little faster. Then I'll take the grinder and flap wheel and stuff and clean it up. I also have carbide burrs and stuff, so I can try that also. So let's get her going. Well, there's no turning back now. The one tricky thing about this is that thing's so damn big. It's hard to maneuver in here in this kind of tight space. So I'm gonna see what I got here. I might have a cutting wheel for this die grinder. It might be a little easier to get a smaller cut, but this is pretty thick material. It's probably like 5/16 to 3/8. So I'm gonna keep playing around. I'll bring you guys back as I get a little further here. I want to bring you guys in for a update and a test fit. I did a little time-lapse stuff, but as you can see, I pulled some of it back here. It was out to about there. It's not pretty at all, but again, I'm not a fabricator, so I'm still getting used to using these kind of tools, but the only way to learn it is to do it, so that's what I'm doing. So I took a big chunk out of here, which is where it hit pretty bad. I took some out of here. I'd like to get a little closer to this line right here. And I might pop this off here and throw it on for a test fit just to see if we're heading in the right direction. So let me get that going. Oh, we're definitely getting closer. Close this distance because basically this has got to roll like up under it this way, but it's hitting right in here and right here. So I'm gonna have to take this back a little bit more. That was just my first slide, but I figured I was gonna have to take more than that. So I guess we'll just keep going at it to see what happens here. One thing I'm not sure about is also down here, because this mount is sunk back in and this one is out further. So this, I don't think that's going to go up and set on there. So we'll have to see what we can do with that when we get there. Just more cutting and modifying, I guess. So let's keep going. So just to bring, oh, there we go. Just to bring everybody kind of update. Here's kind of where I'm at. I took a jar lid and kind of made a better line. I don't know if you guys can see that or not with my shadow and the lights, but I kind of made a better line, and it's been cutting angles, like triangles out basically, so it kind of has this tooth effect. But I know some people said you can like roll a cutting wheel, but I don't feel confident enough to not shatter the wheel into a million pieces. So I'm just doing kind of the cutting away in these triangles and then trying to cut different angles. Like here, I'll cut this way to there to try to knock that piece. It's probably not the most efficient, but it's getting the job done, so we'll keep going. So here's where we're at here. Definitely not perfect, but I'm okay with it for my lack of fabrication skills. I mean, it is a circle, it's not perfect, it needs to be cleaned up and stuff like that, but I'm gonna worry about that when it's time to finish the bike. I'm just trying to get a general clearance for the engine here, so, you know, I'm happy with it. I mean, my very large lack of metalworking skills, I think it came out okay. It definitely helped that I traced that line with that jar to make it a little more round. I mean, at distance it looks good, but up close, you know, it's got little inconsistencies, but let's try to fit it on, and hopefully that was enough. Fingers crossed. All right, moment of truth here to see if this is enough. Let's see. So we're getting a lot closer on this side. That area I clearanced out. It's doing pretty good. We're a lot closer over here, but we're still not quite there. It's hanging up on something else. I'm not sure if it's the frame up here in the front, or the engine, or what is going on. So I'm gonna keep working a little bit. See if we can get going here. All right, well, I found the issue. I don't know if the camera will focus on it. There's this little bung on the frame. It's basically like a spacer that's welded onto the plate, and right now it's getting stuck because as it rotates right here, when I try to turn it, this is hitting the engine case there, and this is hitting, you know, over here, not allowing these bottom mounts. The frame basin needs to rotate up and into the engine like that, and that bung's preventing it. So I think my only option right now is to take that bung off, and if I need to get like a custom spacer, I can just slip it in there as I slip the engine mounting bolt through, because I'm not worried about structural integrity because it's really thick steel, this plate. These are just like built-in basically spacers. So let's work on getting that out, and then we will try to fit her again. So this guy right here is the part in question. This spacer is built on the back of these. There's one there too. Debating on taking both of them off just so I have, you know, a free thing, and I can always add spacers behind it if I need to. The primary culprit's this one, so I'm just going to do this one right now, and then do another test fit and see if that gives us enough room to get the bolts through, or if, you know, we're still having issues. Also, when I wasn't off camera, I took out that brake thing finally. It was so seized, I heated it, I banged it with a giant hammer, and it finally came out. So now it's easier to flip the frame back and forth. So this is what we're going after. I'm trying to set the camera up right here where it's close enough so you can see what I'm doing. Just basically take a cutting wheel and go in this way, and then a flap wheel and just try to flatten it out and clean it up a little bit. Again for the 50th time. Oh, so close. But not quite. Still a little more clearancing to do. Getting real close. As you can see, let me make sure I'm pointing the right direction. There we go. As you can see, we're getting lined up. We're still needing to rotate the frame this way. When I do, tripods catching everything. this piece right here is hitting as part of the frame, so I need to take that off and probably trim some right here. Around here looks pretty good, so I might leave that for now, and then see where we get. Alright, well, let's try to test fit her again now that I've trimmed those little pieces off. And my exercise for today. Not quite done yet. It's time to grab the Sharpie. Getting closer. All right, test fit number 532. I lost count. I don't know. Oh, okay. Wheel pan. Oops, we're getting a little turned around here. Uh-oh. Well, seem to get myself in a bit of a pickle. The engine slid off of the blocks I had holding it up. Probably some of you are watching this go, oh my god, he's wrestling that thing to death. Which I am. I'm just doing the best I can with the garage I got. There we go. I think we might have got it. And try to shoot them both through. I think this is the front one. Yep. trimmed a little more off, hopefully, so it'll allow the frame to kind of rotate this way, which is kind of what I need to tilt, tilt this way to get the bottom hole to line up and the other holes to line up. So hopefully, I've just been using a flat disc, basically just moving that edge out a little bit at a time. Oh my god, it's close. In fact, I might just give it a little persuasion. Voila! 2 motor mount bolts installed. Oh, well, this has been a long adventure. I honestly thought when I did this that I would just be, dropping the frame on and sliding some bolts in. Obviously not. 750A is a little surprised this torque converter, but I'm going to try to stand her upright. I'll put the oil pan back on, then stand her upright. And all right. Here we have it. She is sitting in the new frame. It was a bitch. I'm just gonna call it what it was. I thought I was just gonna tip this over, set the frame on, slide the bolts through, be done with it. Didn't anticipate the curve balls with the 750A. This big torque converter here. So as you guys saw, I do a lot of clearance, and there's still some more left to do because this top mount, I think, doesn't quite line up yet. And it may not. I mean, I guess something I'll have to look at when I get a little further along. May need a little more modification, but it's pretty close. So, front one. So basically I have this mountain down here, so you guys can see. And then I have the bottom one in back here. This is kind of what she looks like now with this behemoth sitting in there. Whew, I gotta say that I'm pretty worn out. This is pretty much an all-day thing. I thought it was gonna be, pretty quick. So coming up, what I gotta do now is keep, fiddling with the, the engine mounts and getting all that fit in there right. And then put the springs back in the back. So put the axle in and put a wheel and kind of make it a roller. Do the head bearings. I have some tapered bearings to put in here. So do that so we can get a front wheel on, and then kind of get a roller out of it. If that was, such a challenge, I'm sure there's going to be more, because I'm already looking at the front where the exhaust goes, and it looks like it'll fit, but it's going to be tight. But she's in the frame now, so that was a big hurdle. It's been sitting on my garage floor for a couple of years. Babies take it more than you think, so I'm going to be trying to get back at it. I mean, it may only be like a video a month or more, I don't know. I'm just going to do as much as I can to get some videos out, because I was crazy. I had 46 subscribers when I last video, and now I have 113, which is awesome, and I appreciate it. So I really want to get some more stuff out, because people are obviously interested. I mean, it's only 100 people, but it's a lot to me. So thanks for checking it out, and I'm going to keep going at it. And have a good one, guys.